Hi, in this episode, we are chatting about agents, who they are, what they do, and how to find them.
And we'll talk about how we found our agents. So
Hi, Sunny.
Hi. What's up with you, Olga?
Same old, same old. Still working on the book. Everything has been approved, so now it's just keeping up with the schedule. The same thing as last time. From here, I think until the next 5 months or so, I'm just gonna be coloring every night.
Yeah. And you can't share any of it.
No, I can't yet.
That's the sad part.
So for Instagram, I'll just have to figure out some stuff once in a while. I'm like, hey, I'm still here.
Yeah. And I'm working on projects that I can't share anything from, and it's frustrating because I don't have time to work on just regular old social media posts, and I can't use the work I'm doing, and so then I feel like it's just silence. I don't know how to balance that.
No, then you put old stuff and you go just to, and you don't have to. You don't really. I don't know. I haven't seen like a huge drop on anything. Yeah, I go look at your stuff, look at whoever else is doing. A comment on somebody else's work, and it's still there. It hasn't died out.
But I have seen a huge uptick in illustrators sharing personal everyday pictures. That's like really popular now. And it used to be popular. And then there was a time period where people just stopped doing that. And they're like, no, social media is only for your art. Don't show pictures of yourself or your life. But now I think people are realizing it's kind of nice to have your personal, make it a little more personable on your social media.
I'm more of the let's keep it just for work. I guess it's your personal preference. I like to go through the feed, and once in a while, like I'll do post, say Halloween, and we all dress up. I'm posting it, but then I'll archive it after a while. I don't leave it in the feed. I don't delete it. I archive it.
I don't know what happens when you archive it. I mean, can you bring it back?
I think you can bring it back. I think that's what it is. You just put it away, but it's no longer in your feed. And I like to do that once in a while. Once in a while, I curate it and I clean it out.
I do that too. A social media cleaning.
But it's okay if sometimes you can't be on it all the time. It's part of life. You've balanced it. But I do see when I go to somebody else's feed, I like to see a little bit of their personality. There was one that says like that you showed me that was like, oh, the things I like to do, and just so you get to know the artist as a person more. That's nice. But I don't like it when I have to go through and I see what you ate last night for dinner and your routine for your workout exercise, and then hey, I was walking the dog. Like once in a while, just if I don't know, if something is cool, like I went walking and I saw this leaf and I picked it up and it's just the colors are amazing, or there's a something in it, because I go there to see art.
But I think those kind of things can be in your stories too. I don't think those need to be on your main feed. That's good behind the scenes stuff and things you do every day, or share on your of course you could share it on your personal. I have 4 Instagram accounts.
I don't.
Well, you have 3.
Which one?
Well, Illo Chat's one.
Oh, Bongo has one. Bongo has his own Instagram account. My daughter helped me set that one up, and she put professional dog. I love that. So yes, my dog Bongo has his own personal account, and he shares Sophie and the bird Loki and every pet that we have in this house. Way too many. And we started that when I started writing this story about that's coming out in 2023. So he does, but I don't often manage it. I think once in a while, whoever here wants to post a picture of him or something that's going on with the pets, they do. Then Illo Chat, we both handle it. And so if you write to us on Illo Chat, it might be Sunny, it might be us. Usually we try to put who's answering, but sometimes we just answer as we, a collective we.
We're the collective.
The collective way. But we both kind of manage that one. And then my personal one. But I stopped posting pictures of my kids like in Facebook when
Yeah.
they turn teenagers and they're like,
Oh,
hey, I
yeah.
want you to post pictures of me. I'm like, okay, that's it.
Yeah.
So I only use it for work.
Yeah.
Rarely do I say anything
My personal one is just food and cats and traveling. If we go somewhere, if I bake something, I'll post it, or if I'm a picture of cats. But yeah, rarely do I put my kids on my even my personal accounts now.
What we did is my family, we have like a group chat on our phones, and that's how we share pictures of, because before it used to be on Facebook, and
that's how we do it too.
That's how we started.
I think it's safer. Yeah, I guess we should start talking about.
Well, that's fine.
But that was
chatting for 6 minutes. It's fine.
Gotta get it out of our systems.
Little behind the scenes. All right. Today we're talking about agents. So how about if we talk about how we found our agents first, because it wasn't the traditional way that we're going to discuss it. And
that is true. Yeah. We both all these things we're both recommending. Or not. Well, they did kind of work for it. They did work for us in a roundabout way.
And they are the main way of doing it, and the one that is most often successful. But you have to understand, you're making connections wherever you go, and sometimes and anything that you do in this industry, and sometimes you just happen to find an agent and make a connection in another way. So let's start with you. Like, how did you find your agent?
I found my agent pretty happenstance on Twitter. Someone posted or retweeted a tweet that an agent was open for submissions for illustrators. Let me clarify. Someone posted a tweet from a literary agent, which is, we'll discuss that in a second, was open for submissions for illustrators. Since I'm also interested in being an author and illustrator, I jumped at the chance and I submitted. And then we had an interview, and I liked what she had to say, and so I signed with her.
So what I hear there is you took action. There was a call for someone, and you didn't just sit there and waited until she discovered you. You went ahead and tweeted back and participated and sent your portfolio. So action, because that's one of the things that is going to be in this episode quite often.
Yeah, and I had to submit. I submitted the way she requested in her tweet, and that was how I was considered. Yeah.
And you have been with her, I think, close to a year. No, not yet.
No.
Oh my, no, but 6 months.
I don't even know if it's been 6 months yet. It was in March or April.
So it's just this year.
It feels much longer though.
We were entering fall already. I'm like, what? Didn't we just start?
I know. Yeah. So
let's see. I found my agent, or actually in this one, we're going to say my agent found me, because I was looking for agents, but this one found me differently. So I was starting my search for agents, and this is towards the end of a year of 2019, I think it was, and then I participated. I stopped and to regroup, and then I participated in that SCBWI, the portfolio showcase. That's what it is.
Yeah,
the portfolio
showcase
in the summer. Yeah, and just put my artwork there, and I got two agents contact me. One liked my work, and they wanted to see if I had stories, which is interesting. She right away, they asked me, do you also write? And I sent them, and they said, okay, we like them, but we're not in love with them, and we'll see in the future again. And then this one contacted me, which is my current agent now, which I actually love so much. She contacted me just to say, I like your artwork. Then I told her I have also stories, and then so she's like, absolutely, let's look at them. And she's
a literary agent.
She's a literary agent, which is interesting. That's what I wanted in the first place, a literary agent, because I already had book dummies, and that's what I want. I want to write my own books and illustrate them. So for me, a literary agent is what I wanted in the, the most. And it was great. I liked how she was very editorial, which we're going to talk about what that means later. And I've been with her since then, which was, I think, 2020 in August. So it's been over a year. But yeah, it's been wonderful. I really enjoyed the experience of having an agent. So that's how we found our agents.
Mm-hmm. And I forgot to mention, I before the Twitter, my Twitter discovery, I had submitted to agents 2 years prior. I had started submitting, and then I took a year off. But I know, looking back, it was way too early for me to be submitting anything. I didn't know anything about.
That was before we met.
Yes.
Right? Oh,
okay. The year before we met. Yeah, the year before we met, I submitted that year to, and I didn't even know how to choose agencies or understand really. I knew how to look up submission guidelines, but I submitted to about 30 agencies. But it was illustration, literary. I didn't understand the entire process. So, and I did get some feedback and some responses. So that was helpful. Then I took a year and a half off or whatever when we met, and I did not submit, and I just worked on my portfolio, and I worked on book dummies and stories. And then I felt like when I submitted actually the first time I submitted to anyone was the Twitter submission. And
sometimes you get it on the first try.
Like, I think I'm ready now. And so and yeah, and that's how my journey was. Okay.
So when you say you took a year off, it's not that you just stopped.
No,
you were working on getting yourself ready for it again. So, and that's important.
Working on my portfolio, working on having some manuscripts, having a book dummy ready, things like that.
Yeah. So why would you want an agent? You don't have to have one, but if this is what an agent would help you with, I can help you both in self-publishing and in traditional publishing, but this is my personal opinion. In traditional publishing, having an agent is a must. That's my opinion. In self-publishing, maybe you can get away without needing an agent.
Yeah.
Sure is helpful if you want to enter more the traditional.
And can you work in traditional without an agent?
Yes.
I'm not saying
you can, but
I'm not saying you should, right. But I think the possibilities are there.
But it will limit you as to what publishing companies you can work with, because some of them do say specifically we only work with agented illustrators or agented authors. So they do, some publishing companies do open submission windows for unagented, but understand how many submissions they're going to get, and you are sitting on a pile of submissions, and then when they get to them, and sometimes you might not hear a response or anything. The lovely thing, one of the things that reassures me is with an agent, when you submit a response, I mean when you submit a manuscript or a dummy, you get a response. It's a yes or a no. It's not crickets. Yeah, which sometimes happens when you submit on your own. Is sometimes you don't even get a yes or a no or nothing, and you're wondering, should I waiting? Should I not? Should I wait? Should I? Did they get it? You don't know. You don't know. So I like knowing. It's fine if it's a yes. It's fine if it's a no. But I need to know what it is. Where am I standing on this? So, why would you want an agent? Is because the agent helps you navigate this industry. They, first of all, they have connections, the connections that you yourself cannot do. So they actually, they communicate with editors. So the editors know, they're like, hey, even though the editors also put this in the manuscript wish list for everyone to see, the agents are very aware as to, hey, this publishing house is looking for a book about purple dinosaurs that are also mermaids. Just don't say anything out there. I don't know. I looked over there and I saw a dinosaur, and then I thought over there and I saw a mermaid. I'm like, I put them together. There you go. They're very specific sometimes like that for what they're looking for. So that helps if your agent is in the know, they know the industry and they know this this editor specifically is looking for something like this. And my client happens to have that. So
yeah.
let's submit it to that agent.
Yeah.
So knowing which door to knock.
And well, wait,
increases.
and you're referring to manuscripts.
I'm referring
I think
to
we should be clear
manuscript
there.
and dummies.
Yeah.
I guess, even though this yes, we're going to discuss the difference.
I think
between
it works
literary.
the way that, yeah. I think
Yeah.
this also applies for art though too. And it also applies to illustrators. They know where your art will fit and what publisher might be looking for your style.
So yeah, so we are going to talk about the difference between literary agents and art agents, but we're talking about everything right now.
Yeah,
if
yeah,
they
yeah.
have the connections and they know,
Mhm.
who likes this style, okay, what art director seems to always like this style
Yeah.
that my client has, they also can steer your work that way.
Yeah, they know where you fit.
Yes.
They can help you with that.
They can help with contracts.
Yeah, that's the biggest, I think. Well, not the, yeah.
I would say the biggest for sure.
That's the
yeah, the contracts. I think our next episode, we're talking about self-publishing and working with those clients, and we're going to discuss their contracts there. Contracts for traditional publishing are very complicated.
It's a book.
It's not a book. It's big. It's there's a lot. I mean, and I'm talking for your own book right now. My goodness, there's so many different rights. What happens if this book becomes a movie? What happens if there's commercial like toys and how long are the rights? Yes.
International rights.
Yeah. What are your responsibilities? What are the responsibilities of the publisher? And everything in between? And it's quite a lot. And a lot of the stuff, me personally, I don't understand it. I'm like, okay, what I will have to Google every 3 words to be able to understand what they're trying to say in this contract.
Yeah.
So why, when someone else can read it and can touch and I can quickly flag the things that they need to negotiate or scratch out of the contract, because everyone is, this is a business. And it's not to say, oh, the publishing house is trying to take advantage. No, but they are trying to do what's best for the publishing house and try to get the best deal for them.
Yeah.
And my agent is trying to get the best deal for us. And when I say for us, is for her and for me. Mainly, they are always checking to make sure that you keep your rights, that nothing extra is being taken away from your rights of the artwork, and that you are properly compensated. And that's something that you yourself might not be able to work to fight for yourself like that, or you might not know, or you might not know that, hey, you can ask for more, or because they can negotiate your fees as well.
And it's in the agent's best interest to, 1, get you as much money as possible, because then they get a bigger commission. And then 2, make sure that you are happy with the contract and the timeline and the what they're asking of you. Because if you're miserable, then you may not want to stay with that agency. If you don't feel like they're protecting you or representing you well.
Right.
So it's in their best interest to take really good care of you and make sure that you have a good working relationship, and that they represent you well with contracts.
Right. You have to feel comfortable knowing that you trust that this person is speaking for you. This person is
they're representing you.
It's your representative. Exactly. So you have to trust them, and you have to feel comfortable trusting them. So it's a relationship for sure. It starts like that. It's very weird at first, because there is this feeling of
control.
Who works for whom. And who works for whom. At the very beginning, I'm going to be completely honest, at the very beginning, you're just thrilled that you have an agent, and you're like, oh, I have an agent. And then it's almost like you feel like they are the boss and you're working for them. And it takes a while to realize this is a relationship. We are actually working together towards the common goal. It's not I'm not her boss and she's not my boss. This is a
It's
mutual
like a partnership.
right?
Yeah.
So another thing that they would help you with, which makes it another reason why I want to have an agent, is they help with the communication between the client and the artist.
Mm-hmm.
So any little misunderstandings or anything you want to clarify, they can help you. They step in.
Yeah. And so you check in when you get a project, you check in with them during the process and let them know how it's going.
Yeah, well, they're CC'd on everything that you
Mm-hmm.
send, so they are aware of what files went to the editor, what when you submitted something, what what the editor is asking for, your timeline for the project, all of that it goes through your agent is always in communication, it is aware.
Yeah.
It gets to the point that they're not there constantly speaking for you. It doesn't have to be like the client tells the agent and the agent tells you. No, you go ahead and working. But if there's ever an issue or a question that you have that you don't know how to address it, you can tell your agent, and then your agent will be like, oh yeah, let me step in and clarify that. So if the project is not moving forward
but it's also good for you because you checked in with your agent and said, is this normal or is this typical? Because you're a first time author illustrator. So you have nothing to judge any of this on. So it's good to have someone there who's been through it and can answer your questions.
Right. So without discussing any specific details about any contracts, there are certain things that you are not allowed to do, or you might be locked into not let me just throw something out there. For example, it's typical to see something so that when you are writing a book, for example, or you have done your own book about, let's go, purple dinosaurs that are also mermaids, like to use the same example, that they might lock you into a contract that says you cannot write another book about purple dinosaurs who are also mermaids for 2 years, which makes sense because you don't want to compete with the same book that you're putting out or things like that. So your agent can explain, this is normal, this is not normal. Oh, they're asking too much. There's a lot of things that's why the reason why I'm saying having an agent is imperative, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's like having a big brother or big sister who can like lead you through the process and give you advice, because they've been there before and they can watch out for you.
And they are keeping up with the new things, the new trends, how the industry is moving, how the market is moving, how publishing houses are doing business now, where I'm just going like, hey, what's the newest tool and how to illustrate, and hey, I came up with another story. That's where I'm happy living. I don't want to have to figure out how the publishing business is going,
which also leads well with manuscripts and art. They stay on top of what the trends are, what things you should and shouldn't be drawing, what subjects you should and shouldn't be writing about, or were just not popular at the time. They can keep track of that, whereas you have no idea unless they told you. You would have no idea.
So getting to an agent, it is almost like if you have been navigating this all by yourself, trying to figure out, like you say, well, writing about this subject in this way, or illustrating a character in this way, is it okay? Is it going to help me in my career or not? You've been figuring this out on your own, doing your own research and all that. An agent can help you, someone to give you feedback and go, no, don't do it this way. You know what? Why don't you try this? And it all depends on the agent too. Some of them are not like that. That's
true. Yeah, that is true.
So let's go ahead and discuss the difference between literary agents and our agents, licensing agents, because and even reps. Like, there's different names to all of this. It's hard to completely differentiate them because a lot of them do the same things as before, but as the other one.
Yeah.
But the main difference between a literary agent and an art agent is that a literary agent will also represent you in your own books that you're writing.
Yeah. Now, okay, this
And
is something before
books.
we did these notes that I didn't really think about. There are some people that have an art agent and a literary agent.
Yes.
So depending on who the agent you sign with will determine, the contract that you have with them will determine how they represent you or what they represent you in.
Right.
So some literary agents will represent you in illustration and as an author.
Right. Mine does.
Yeah, mine does as well. So some art agents will only represent you as an illustrator. I mean, actually, I think they don't typically do. I don't know a whole lot about that side, but
they will represent you as
an
an
author.
illustrator in children's books. And I think about our art agencies, they go past books. They go into maybe you do candles for a candle company, like the labels for a candle company, or a greeting card or something. It all depends. But then you also get into licensing agents, which they might also work together as an art agent. It depends on what that agent does.
Yeah, and not all art agents will do that. Some are only for children's books, children's book illustration. And then if you want to get into licensing with cards and household products and things like that, surface design, then that would be a licensing agent. Yeah, it's so dependent on on the agency and the agent and what they represent.
So figure out what you want to do, and then you know which agents to submit your portfolio to, or try to start a relationship with, because they are different. They charge different commissions, and they work in different sections. And you might be with the wrong agent. You might be like, well, why am I not getting any books out there? Well, because you have a licensing agent, and not because you have a literary agent,
or you have an art rep, an art agent who doesn't specialize in
and the thing is, they might not have the contacts with the people that you need to get to, right? So it's better if you figure out what is it that you want to do, and then find those agents that can get you there.
Yeah. And the way to find out what they represent is to go to their agency, look at those agents, and then you can see, actually just look at the agency, and usually you can tell by the agency the examples of what either what their projects are, who their clients are, where they what they produce with their artists.
Right. So you mentioned this, that your agent does represents different genres. That's perfectly fine. So that's fine.
I think that's
your
pretty
agent
common.
Yeah, your agent doesn't have to be, if you want to do picture books, I only represent picture books. No, they're going to have other clients that maybe write romance or cookbooks or whatever. But not, they are able to manage different clients. So don't let that scare you off.
And if one thing you mentioned earlier was, are they editorial?
Yeah, we're gonna
we didn't have that in the list, but
it's we were going to discuss it later, but it's the same.
Okay.
Yeah, so editorial would be someone that is willing to edit your work more. Like a lot of agents, there's different ways of working, and that's when you find out. That's all the questions you're going to ask when you do have the phone call with the agent. How editorial are you? Because, for example, if I submit a manuscript to my agent, we work together at it, and she might edit it and go, yeah, but let's cut this section, or this section here is not working, or she will tell me it's falling apart here in the middle, try to resolve that. And she might not even actually give me any hints on it, other than this needs to be changed, and it needs to be resolved better, and then I have to go back and work and resubmit. Others might be like, no, it's not ready, or until you give you like a little bit more of a hint, like, no, it's not ready, it's completely falling apart, rewrite it, but no hints at all. So editorial would be someone who's actually willing to go there and edit it a bit for you, and go, let's get rid of this whole line, and then this whole paragraph would work. So that's when you find out how editorial, and they work also for art.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna
Because
say.
yeah, some agents will just take whatever you do and it'll be like, okay, this is the work that they do.
Yeah, they won't curate your portfolio.
Right. Others would be, no, this is not portfolio worthy yet, or see if you can tweak the colors a little bit. It's too dark, it's too bright, it's too, so it's
Yeah,
a helpful thing because, like I said, they know the market better.
right.
And you're in your bubble sometimes, and we have this, discuss to try to get out of your bubble as much as you can. But you do get into your zone, into your bubble, and sometimes you don't check out what's actually working if you want to work currently here now and get your work out there.
Yeah. So
Oh yes.
yeah, so even though there are all these different types of agents, but then there are also different types of agencies. There are larger agencies. I don't know if there's a different term for that, or I just call them large agencies. And then there are boutique agencies. So boutique agencies usually just have, I don't know if there's like a number, but there's usually 10 or fewer agents in there, maybe a little more, but large agencies usually have a lot of agents in that work for them, and they usually have different offices around the world even. So you might see that they have a New York office and a London office and a San Francisco office, and but boutique agencies usually are smaller and more personalized, but they also represent fewer clients because they have less agents. So you usually, with a boutique agent or with a smaller agency, you usually have more one-on-one contact with your agent. I think with larger agencies, you may not hear from your agent as often because they're representing so many people and it's such a large company. So you may, with a larger agency, you may end up lost in the multitude of clients that they have, unless you are super successful and well known. And so very often, I think I don't know if it's easier to get to sign with either one. I don't know. I think it really depends.
Depends on the work that the person
Yeah.
has, I think.
And often larger agencies are not just literary or if they're art, they represent all different types of art. Very often they're not just children's book illustration. Sometimes they're editorial, sometimes they're licensing.
So same thing with boutique. The boutique agencies also have
that's true
sections.
There are some like that.
The main thing to take away from this, I think, is don't be afraid if you see boutique agency and the title. That doesn't mean,
it just means there's fewer agents in there that work for them.
Don't think it means like vanity press means. No, it's not.
Oh yeah,
it's just a smaller group, that's all. And yeah, some people like larger agencies, some people like smaller agencies. So it's nothing, they still want to get you some work, and it depends on the work that you do and the connections that they have.
Yeah, and it depends on where you're trying to work. Right. It depends on your goals. So you just have to look at the agent the type of agent you're looking for, and then also look at the agency they're with. Those are the two important things. There's a lot of misinformation around agents.
Yeah, so we're gonna you've been getting some questions.
These are just things I see online. Yeah. Well, and some people have asked me.
Yeah. So let's clarify a few of them if we can. So you've been hearing that agents, do you hire an agent hires you? We discussed that they don't. It's someone that represents you. If you are their client, but they get to choose which client they're going to represent. Right. So it's kind of like, yeah, you are the client, but they get to choose the client. So
yes. Yeah, so they can be picky, and that's their right. They want to work with people who align with their goals as well.
Yes, because imagine all the time that they are investing into your career, into helping you manage your career. If you are not going to make them any money, then what's the point?
Yeah,
it is all a business still. And they get their money when you make money. So
Mhm.
so it makes sense for them to choose. And there's only so much time in the day. So
Yes.
you have to think, how many contracts can they handle in a day? How many negotiations? How many submissions? How many emails back and forth? How much, and it all depends on, like how much hand holding that client needs versus how, nurturing that agent is. So it all depends. So I can understand why they have to be so choosy as to who they're going to represent.
Yeah, and when they take on a client, they may have some clients who are newer, and they may have to spend more time with them, and they may have some clients that they've had for a long time that are kind of self-sustaining and already have work coming in, and they don't need them as much.
Right.
So that influences who they choose. That influences how, the clients they're willing to take on. How their time is already allotted for the current people they're working with. There's so many things that can influence.
I'm going to put myself in an agent's shoes for a second. If I were to represent 10 people and I haven't heard anything from one of them, I'm going to have to reach out and go, hey, I haven't seen any new work from you. Are you okay? Are you going through a spell that you cannot come up with anything? Do you want? I would do something like that, right? And so that is part of their day as well, that they have to, if they're not, they have to manage these careers. You are making your own choices as to your career, but they are helping you through it.
Mm-hmm.
So that, yes, I would definitely be choosy as to who I pick.
Yeah. And on that, just to add to that, if someone is not producing, or they're not working towards trying to get work, or not actively producing work, then that's losing the agent money, because they're investing time in that person. And if that person can't, it could be for many reasons, but that's kind of hurting them as well, because they're invested time in you, but you're not producing.
I have never, it's not to say that I have never heard this at all, that it would be like, oh, you need to submit one manuscript a month.
No.
There's nothing like that. No, because this is art, and it is, art flows from us, so sometimes you get stuck, sometimes you have to, something takes you longer, and that's fine. There's nothing like that, but you do have to be somewhat active too, because you can't just give your art agent one piece a year and expect them to be able to promote that, because when they send the promotions, you're going to have the same artwork showing every time.
And publishers will see, art directors will see that, and they're like, oh,
I've seen this. This is the one already. This is the one thing that this client, this illustrator can do. So
which is not representing you well, because then it shows that you're not putting out work. You're not.
So where we discussed how agents get paid is because that's other questions that you have gotten. Who pays whom, how it is. They get their commission from whatever you make. The client pays the agency sends you your portion of the money. That's how it is. They take their commission and then they send you so you don't ever have to write your check to your agent saying, oh, here's your commission. No, the agent gives you whatever's left over after they take the commission.
And I don't think we covered this under the different types of agents. I don't know if we have it listed later, but the commissions differ on the different types of agents as well. So the percentage will differ, and that's something you'll discuss when you sign with them. But typically literary agents, and I forgot the percentage, is it 20 and less, or 15?
It's an average of 20. But don't go and say, oh no, it must be 20. It's an average of 20. For our reps, I believe it's an average of 30, same as for licensing agents, but it does flow.
I've heard it can be up to 40 to 60.
I wouldn't sign that.
That's a lot.
I wouldn't sign that. That's up to someone else, but I think that's too much. If this is the way I see it, if I'm sitting down putting, you know how long illustrations take, 20, 30 hours, and you're going to take half of that. I'm not doing it. Then I'm looking for work in another way.
But okay, but you also have to look at the types of illustrations they're referring to. So in children's book illustration, which literary agents would only deal with, yes, those take a really long time, and this takes months to a year to produce a product with the publisher. If you're working with a licensing agent, those the works that you're producing probably take much less time to produce, but you're also probably going to not make as much off those off those works of
licensing
art.
You make less.
Yeah, but you can produce more, sell more, and it's just a smaller payment. So if I have to pay someone 60% of let's say like $2,000, then I'm like, but I know that I can produce that same thing like 5 times a month, then maybe that's a better deal for me than giving someone 15% over a 2-year project that might get me $15,000 to $20,000. Does that make sense? I mean,
yes,
I think
but you are thinking that you're only going to get one project every 2 years as well. It all depends on what field you're trying to get into. Like I have a literary agent, and I might go into another section as well in the future. So I know there will be different commissions. I would not sign a commission where it's 60%.
No, I think that is very high. But I'm just saying, I think I understand why licensing agents charge a higher commission, because it's a higher turnaround rate.
Yes.
And you have to produce more artwork in the process. So I think it's a little more labor intensive for licensing agents to go out and get work than, I don't know.
Yeah.
They're more involved in the process, I think. But I think 60%.
There's got to be a reason for it. And like I would say then I better be getting work all the time, and it must be like super well paid work for me to say, yeah, sure, you can take 60%.
Well, yeah, I know. I still think that's too high. I think 40 is very high. That's a lot.
I think 40 is high, but I understand that they do have different
so I think our point is just know that the type of agent you go with, the commission percentage will be different depending on the type of agent you're with.
But don't go thinking it must be 35.2%, like it is. These are averages that we're throwing out there. Some will be higher, some will be lower. It depends on the size of the agency as well, and how well connected they are with the client base that they have. All I'm saying is it should be worth the commission that they take. And do that homework when you're figuring out if you're going to have a rep, if you're going to have an agent, if you're going to figure out, and sometimes you have to test run this stuff. How much work are they going to find you? Typically, they are able to negotiate higher fees for you than you would yourself. But if you have been with an agent or an agency for a year and you're not getting any work, or then obviously something's wrong. Something is wrong in this thing. Either you're not producing enough work, they're not submitting the work. Something's falling somewhere. So you have to figure out where's the issue and don't stick around. I mean, never leave an agency in bad terms if you can help it. Just find one that is a better fit for you, because like I said, these are partnerships. So if it's not working with a partnership, then find another one. Don't just stay there. This is a fluid business.
And I think and like you said, you need to find the right fit. So if you might not know if they're a good fit until you've been there for a year or two and see what type of work they're able to help you get, or how their negotiation skills are, or how, if you need to be more managed closely, then you might, and they don't do that, and they just kind of let you do your own thing, then you might want to change, but you won't know that until you experience it and you've been with them for a little while.
So. That's a good point. Yeah, you don't know until
you
are in it if this is working for you.
And you, especially if you're new, you don't really know what you're looking for until you've experienced it. So it's
right. And that's something else. If you have an agent and you're not hearing from them, talk to them. Don't just like, oh, I'm leaving, this is not working. Talk to them and say,
it might be because you haven't said anything, or maybe they think you're fine.
They might not know that you want a little bit more. Like you're like, hey, I would appreciate if
that's true.
Once
you need to keep open communication.
We keep in touch.
Right. Yeah, that's so true. Because I think an agent is also trying to figure out what you need, and they won't know unless you tell them. So you need to tell them, hey, I would like a little feedback here and there, or ask them questions. That's what they're there for. That they're there to support you and help you in your career.
Because personalities come in.
Mm-hmm. And I think another common misconception is that once you get an agent, jobs will just start rolling in. That it just I have an agent. I have the golden ticket. Now I don't have to do anything else, except work.
I would say, and I'm here going to just say about literary agents, because that's what I wanted, that's what I got, that's where I'm at. So I'm not going to speak about the other ones because I don't have the other agents, not yet. Once it's almost like you get an agent, you get to the next step. That doesn't mean it's all, like you said, golden ticket from here. No, it's the next step. Then there's still so much more that you have to do to get the work and to get the jobs that you want.
Yeah, it doesn't happen automatically once you get an agent.
Right. You don't sign and you go and they're like, oh, here's your new contract. It's like,
no, like, and then they just send you an email with job job proposals. No. It's not like that. They're not sitting on work waiting for they might have opportunities that they know of, but still it's you have to give them something to work with. Right. You have to give them manuscripts if it's a literary agent, and then they have to help you edit or they can help you edit them, or you have to give them illustrations. So you can't come with one good illustration piece in your portfolio and expect an agent to be able to help you find work. You have to make sure that your portfolio is constantly updated. You're creating new pieces. You're staying relevant to the market. All these things, because if you don't do that, they can't find you work. They're not going to be able to find people that want to work with you.
And I'll say the same thing for when you're writing, when you actually get to the point that you're going to write your own stories too, because a lot of people that listen to us are also want to be authors, illustrators. Don't write one story, your precious little story, you give that to the agent, and then you just sit and wait. While that story is out on submission, you are writing new things, because that one might not sell. And if that one doesn't sell, you can't just be devastated and then that's it. Your work career is over. No, you have 15 other stories that you're working on, and you send the next one, bring that one back in, put it in a drawer, see what it needs. Maybe it'll sell again in 10 years, in 5 years, maybe you'll edit it, maybe you'll leave it. So always, like you say, keep current, keep writing, keep illustrating, keep giving your agent work.
Be productive. Yes. That's it. You just need to produce.
And usually, like you say, when you just sign up, it's not usually like, here's a list of jobs. Usually you curate your portfolio. You kind of align your portfolio to what you say that you want to do, because right now you're coming in with a lot of illustrations and your agent's probably going to go like, okay, let's clean this up. This one works, this one doesn't work. Let's put your portfolio together. It takes some time before you actually start getting work in.
I think we just covered that.
Yeah, and you still have to be proactive and still keep promoting your work and producing work.
Yeah, because it's easier for the agent to find you work if you are helping them by promoting yourself.
So I don't know if you got this question or you brought it in
No,
because
I've just seen,
yes.
I have seen this happen. I have seen people sign and then immediately they have like 3 or 4
book
books.
deals.
Yeah, which is great. I'm happy for them. But I'm just saying that's not the typical progression for most people. But it's usually because they worked really hard to promote themselves online, or they already are established as an author or illustrator.
Right. This is where you should like, don't look at what others are getting. Don't compare your work with somebody else's. Don't compare the book deals. I know it gets like that. Travel your own path. Okay, you'll get there. You'll get the stuff that you want. But yes, it is hard when we see illustrators that we've been following or something, and they're like, oh, here I have a double book deal and I have this. Celebrate them. They work for it. It's not like they just stole it from you. They didn't steal anything from you. No, I'm not talking to you. I'm talking like to
well, and often you don't see a lot of times that you didn't see all the behind the scenes thing, the things they did before they got there. There might have been other projects they worked on that you don't know about that put them in contact with the art director that ended up asking for them. There's so many things that can happen in this industry that are not public, that you don't know about, that you probably didn't see, that they probably couldn't talk about.
You don't know about all the other stories or dummies that they put together that didn't go through. It is like the iceberg, right? We see the tip of it, but we don't really know the work that went into it to see, you see the Publisher Weekly's announcement, which is like, ta-da, I got my book deal. But
maybe we should say really quick what Publishers Weekly is, or
Publishers Weekly. Yeah, we were going to
talk about
we were. That's fine. I made my book when I back the book deal. So you get a book deal, and it might be like a year before the publisher actually makes the announcement that they have acquired the rights to publish your book. And it's kind of like a newsletter. It's not a newsletter, it's a whole website.
It's a website.
Every deal that has gone through to a traditional publishing house, they announce it there. They announce the agent that, and that's going to come in later on as we discuss how to find agents as well. It announces the agent that brokered the deal. It announces the rights that they are purchasing, the publishing house, the author, an illustrator or other illustrator if you're just one, and the expected date of publication. So when you see that is the moment that you get to announce to the world that you have a book deal, the one that you've been holding on for so long, without saying anything. That's the tip of the iceberg, but you don't know how much work went into that before that moment came along. You know that how many dummies were done, how many rewrites, how many
times was it submitted, how many rounds did it have to go through before it finally got picked up somewhere.
We're going to end this part 1 here, and we'll continue the conversation in part 2, which will be airing soon.